So, hi everyone. I am back from my business trip to Warsaw. That was the first time since the war started that I have been traveling. Before that, I have traveled a lot, not that much by train, but mostly by air connection. Right now, none of the commercial airlines operate in Ukraine because of obvious reasons it is not safe. But you can go abroad and you can use for that either trains. There are two options, bus or by car, which is all of them are comfortable in their own way. My company could not book for me SVA, which is like a compartment for two people. So they booked a standard ticket traveling from Kiev to Warsaw. You can actually choose between two options. There is one was with a step. So you have one step, but it is rather comfortable because on the Poland territory, you have to step out of the train, and on the same platform you just step into another train. They say that it is easier to buy those kind of tickets, and as far as I know, you have more options in terms of types of compartments there. But yeah, my company booked me a direct connection, so you don't have to step out everywhere. But in Warsaw, the central station does not operate for Ukrainian trains right now. In fact, they are remaking all the railway there. So you will arrive most probably to Warsaw Wschodnia, and you will if you are planning to travel to Kiev, you will have to depart from Warsaw Wschodnia, which is translated like eastern station of Warsaw, to Kiev. So it takes more than 10 hours, I think, more than 12 hours. I have so I'm a bit mess in terms of how long does it take, because I've departed like a 7:45 p.m. from Kiev, and I arrived something after 10 a.m. in Warsaw. And this includes a passport control and custom check, and also the change of the train chassis. So we have a different width of the railroad in Ukraine and in Poland, and at a certain point the train just stops for an hour just to change the type of chassis they're operating on. You don't experience it in any way except for a little bit weird sounds, but they also like combine it with I think with a custom check. So the custom check and the passport control happens from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m., which is like a bit of a stressful situation, because they turn on the lights and they ask you not to turn them off. So you basically, from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. you have bright lights in your compartment. I use the sleeping pad that helped me a lot. They're very polite and very kind operating. What you get in your compartment, you have 3 shelves of beds. I was on the toppest one. You also have some water there and a plug in, so you can charge your device, but there is only one plug in for 3 people. Usually everything is booked, so you don't expect that your compartment will be free. And it is really hard to buy tickets for this particular direct train, at least what the agency told me, who was booking it for myself. So yeah, and you can also order tea or coffee to your compartment, and the conductors are usually very kind and very, very polite. In the city, when I have arrived there were 3 occasions which it felt really like uncomfortable-ish for me. The first time it was when I was taking taxi from the railway station to the office, which is located more or less in the center of Warsaw, and it took about an hour to get there. And I remember seeing lots of Ukrainian flags along the way, and it actually made me cry. Then the second time it was we had like business related activity, but it was on open space in the park, and in a certain moment the plane flew above our heads, and unconsciously I was starting moving backwards to find some place to hide myself from the open space. And then I stopped myself, like my head was like, yeah, you are in a safe situation. But by that time all of my colleagues were like, what are you doing? Some of them understood that it was because of the sound of the plane. Others even did not like catch it because they just ignored the sound of the plane. It is so usual for them in their life. So yeah, you understand that there is a different normal for you with this situation. And the last one was when we were at the restaurant and it started to dim the lights a little bit, and my reaction was like, oh, electricity shut down. And I'm like, no, it's not. But everyone was laughing from this reaction. So yeah. And I didn't spend much time in the city or enjoying it because like my agenda was fully packed, so I think that was a good thing. I don't know how would I proceed reacting at that. I didn't sleep for 3 nights, had almost no sleep because I don't sleep in the transport, any kind of it. So at the hotel I was first of all late from the day of activity, so it was 11ish something. And then I had an early call the next day, business related, and I was anxious not to oversleep it. And then like the third night, obviously we were like traveling by train, so I couldn't sleep as well. Although on the way back, the passport control and custom clearance happens from 10 p.m. till 1 or 2 a.m. So it's not 3 to 7. It's easier a little bit to process. So it was strange that there were no air raid alerts, even though we don't have everything right now in Kiev, but you live in certain anticipation of one, and also you like sometimes you mistaken the sounds of air raid alerts with some other sounds. There you just don't have them. It's like yeah, something missing from my life, different normal. And maybe a few recommendations to share if you are planning or will consider to come to Ukraine by train. So first of all, I would recommend to wear like a light sportswear to the train and not to change there. Somehow I don't feel comfortable to change. And also keep in mind that most of the trains, they don't have men. Most of the cars, they don't have men in them. At least on my way from Kiev to Warsaw, there were none. On my way back, there was one military guy and few elderly men traveling. So yeah, it's just for me it was more comfortable to wear in the train. So I changed before the train like a very light sports suit, and then I didn't change in the train, and I didn't use a blanket because you get the sheets and you should put them on top of your mattresses, and you basically don't put a blanket inside something. You put the sheet and on top of it the blanket, and it doesn't seem to be like particularly clear, and somehow I didn't feel very comfortable of using it. And besides, it is very hot usually inside of your compartment because they make sure that they heat it enough, and it was way too hot for me even sometimes. So like the next piece of advice would be just buy with to get with yourself like a thermal water which you can spray, and it gets easier for you then to process this heat. I was on the top shelf, so I was the furthest from this heating element, but still it was way too hot for me. I would definitely recommend and ask not to take any smelly foods with you because, well, you can smell it all over their cart, and yeah, I would say it really mostly disrespectful. Having earplugs and sleeping pads might help a lot because once again of the passport control and security check you will have some lights, and also you share the card with two other people who might want to read and they will have their lights on. So yeah, obviously that will help you to get some rest. And yeah, keep your belongings in a safe place. So just everything that is valuable, just have it right with you. You never know with whom you are traveling. And yeah, another thing is that um, I saw people wearing like, you know, very very light slippers in the train, and I would find that not the best choice, because obviously when train goes, it is very shaky, so it might not be very clean in the toilet, and using this like paper like slippers, well, it does not protect your feet very well. So instead of that, I would recommend using sneakers or some kind of shoes without laces that you can easily like put in and put off. So you will feel more comfortable when your feet are closed and secured going, for example, to the toilet. Yeah, smoking is prohibited, and one thing that you might also see is a scotch tape on the windows. This is in ideal situation should protect if there is like shelling outside. So if the window will be damaged, the pieces of glass will not spread all around the car. I don't know how actually will that operate, because it doesn't seem that scotch tape can secure it properly. But this is a good reminder that even traveling by train is not that safe. And yeah, last but not least, please don't forget to take off your sheets and bring them to the conductor like an hour before you are arriving. Some people don't do that, but I would really recommend to do that, because this is kind of a act of respectance to their work, and they do have a lot on their hands, and they still continue to act kindly and politely and making this experience, which is not the best one for you, as best as possible. So if you will be traveling by train, I would definitely ask you to do that as an act of kindness and respect. So yeah, that's all for now, and those are my experiences with traveling from Ukraine during the war. And I do hope the next time I will be traveling outside of Ukraine, we will win, and the experience will be very different. Bye.